Guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about The Flash, episode 712, titled Goodbye Vibrations, which premiered Tuesday, June 8, 2021 on the CW. I am long overdue, as I'm recording this on June 21st. Huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. At the time I'm recording this, 713 has aired, but I've done everything I can to avoid any promos, spoilers of any kind. I was even tempted to combine that review with 712's review, but I stated before that Cisco's Goodbye deserves its solo video, so that is what I'm here to do. And let's get right into it. Timeline wise, I believe it's shortly after the events of episode 711, but I don't know how long. I just know that by the time the episode starts, Cisco is meant to leave Central City the next day. So the episode really only takes place during one day, but it's meant to be at least long enough where like he's left telling the team about his departure to the last minute. So that's a little bit of timeline there. Episode reminders though, the fact that this is Cisco's goodbye and Camilla technically, but it's a huge focus on Cisco saying goodbye to a 6-year journey with Team Flash. Now, let's move on to the storylines very quickly. 3 different ones. You have first one being saying goodbye, which is pretty much the overarching premise through the whole episode because it bleeds into episodes 2 or storylines number 2 and 3. The second one being about Rainbow Raider 2.0 and the third one being Hard to Replace. Now, the second storyline deals mostly with what Team Flash is dealing with in this episode, and then the third storyline deals with more of what Team Citizen is dealing with in this episode. But again, like I said, the whole goodbye for Cisco and Camilla both bleed into the other storylines. So overall, let's just talk about the goodbye in itself. We find out that Cisco is actually taking over Chip Cooper's job at Argus, which was the director of technologies and science. Full title of it will be on my screen because I don't have it on my page right now, but Argus offered him the job to be Chip's replacement after huge recommendations from Diggle and Lila. So Cisco is going to be moving to Star City. Part of me kind of wonders if Arrow were still airing, if that would have meant that Cisco would have been moving from the Flash to Arrow. But anyways, we know that's not possible because Arrow has ended. Anyways, we also find out that Camilla has a new gallery gig happening in Miami that we had spoiled in the previous episode, so she's going to be doing that, and then when she's done there, she's going to be joining Cisco in Star City. So they tell the team at the very beginning of the episode, the team consisting of Barry, Caitlin, and Iris, because they wanted to tell them together, and they wanted to be the first ones to know about it. Chester and Allegra, Cecile and Joe find out later on off screen. So now let's deal with the second storyline, because throughout both this storyline and the second storyline, you have everybody dealing with the news in different ways. So with Rainbow Raider 2.0, this is where we see Cisco trying to get in his last mission with the team, and that is Barry and Caitlin and Chester. So we get Chester being very excited about it, but Barry and Caitlin are kind of trying to put on a brave face so that his last day is not filled with tears. As they deal with Rainbow Raider 2.0, which is Carrie Bates, who's kind of pulling on a Robin Hood kind of thing, where she's stealing from the rich and trying to give back to the people of Central City. But her ways of doing so ultimately may cause a bit of chaos and destruction in the city, but it does lead to Cisco really pulling through and helping the team out and saving the day. Now, when it comes to Hard to Replace on Team Citizen, this is when the Team Citizen is dealing with the reporter side of all the places that Rainbow Raider is causing these crimes. And then while in between doing all that, Camilla offers Iris a chance to help her out find her replacement on the team as the paper's photographer. That kind of goes to a dead end because Iris is just turning down a lot of people claiming to want to find the right person to fill Camilla's shoes. But Camilla brings up a very good point that, like, you can't expect the person you hired to be ready for the job. pointing out that Camilla was also not ready to deal with some very high pressure situations that the team has had to deal with. And then Iris ultimately reveals that she's not just losing an employee, she's also losing a dear friend with Camilla leaving. So they kind of square things away there with the tension between them. But by the end of the episode, Team Citizen has their own going party for Camilla, and then Team Flash has their own going away party for Cisco. So they do have a little bit of some downtime to give their proper farewells. But let's move on to tidbits. So Frost is actually said to be absent in this episode by saying that she's away for testing with Caitlyn's mom. Though she does pass a text to Caitlyn to have her pass it along to Cisco as her farewell. So that's something there. We also find out that Cisco pretty much shows Chester the archives room and reveals that he's neglected to do inventory for the last 6 years. So we do see a lot of old gadgets from the earlier seasons popping up, and Chester kind of fanboying all over them, which is rightfully so. So there is that. But when it comes to most shocking moment of the episode, I actually forgot to include this one. What am I most shocked about? I think what I was shocked about was how much lightheartedness was in this episode. Because for something, whenever there's always a character is leaving, you always worry that they're going to kill the character off. So a part of me was really dreading that that's what they would do with Cisco. But instead of having him leave on a very serious note, or have him dealing with something that would pretty much force him to leave the team, they left it on a happy note. I mean, Rainbow Raider 2.0 was literally causing people to have euphoric emotions as opposed to being hit by anger. So a lot of the euphoria she had hit Cisco and Barry with was a lot of lighthearted fun and jovial responses. So it was very interesting to get their unfiltered happiness from it, which I know they kind of tease that it's meant to be like leaving it on a good terms kind of thing, but I just wasn't expecting how lighthearted it would have been. So that was a surprise there. But let's move on to favorite moments. A lot of these are going to be centered around Cisco because, like I said, it is his goodbye episode. So the very first episode, I'm going to deal with the emotion of the OG Flash, and that is the scene between Barry and Caitlyn when Cisco confronts them about how he says, well, if you guys want me to leave, then I'll just leave a day early. And then Barry and Caitlyn reveal that they don't want him to leave. They've been trying to be as brave as they can to give him the last mission that he wanted, and really for them all to have a heart-to-heart and just talk about how hard it is for them to see Cisco leave, but then to also know that this is his choice and this is the next step, and they don't want to stop him from doing this next step, because he even confided in them what his greatest fear was when Sick revealed it to him. So definitely huge emotions, huge tears, great hugs in that scene. I love that all three of them got to be a part of that. I like that it wasn't just like Cisco talking to only Barry or only talking to Caitlyn. I like that it was all three of them having that moment together. Another favorite I did have was the karaoke party. It was like the very last scene that we got with OG Team Flash. That is Cisco, Barry, Caitlyn, and Joe. And pretty much having it like whatever Cisco wants to do, they'll do it. Just before that, we also got Cisco having kind of like a memory montage trip down memory lane. We got a lot of the very early scenes of him on Team Flash, and then it spreads through his journey over the last 6 seasons. So that was quite fun there. And then also just him giving each of them one of his graphic t-shirts, and then all of them wearing those t-shirts while they took part in a bit of karaoke singing fun, which was just a blast to see. And it kind of like, it was great to see them have that one final hurrah together, but also like a little bittersweet because that is the last time we will be seeing them together. So it was a favorite to have have us be able to see that kind of emotional and fun exchange between all four of them one last time. And then I want to say a final scene is actually between Chester and Cisco. And it's not just one scene, it's just the vibe between all three of them. How Cisco was kind of pretty much passing the torch on to Chester, and Chester's excitement of having this new opportunity and just basking in the awesomeness that was Cisco's job. Because as you know, Chester's like a huge fan of Star Labs and everything that comes with it, huge Team Flash fan and all that. So it's just really great to see that excitement be renewed through Chester, and then for Cisco to be reassured that, like, yeah, I'm leaving this all in the proper hands. So I really, really enjoyed that. Now for a peeve, it was very hard for me to think of a peeve for this episode. But I guess in a way, I kind of would have wished that Wells was also part of saying goodbye to Cisco, but then I understand why he wouldn't be a part, because this wasn't the same Wells. Like, the Timeless Wells isn't the same Wells that he had as a mentor. It's not the same one he grew to be friends with Wells from Earth 2 or HR or all the different Wells. It wasn't the Timeless Wells. So I can understand why they wouldn't include that, also why they wouldn't have him come back. But it was just, it was fun though to have that photo of Wells be included with the team, even though we know it's Earbarb Thawne. In that photo, it was just the fact that he chose that photo to look back on was just something. So it was very hard to pick on a peeve. So if I had to be nitpicky, it was the fact that Wells couldn't be there to give a final goodbye or a final advice kind of thing. But I guess we have to go back to when we did last see Timeless Wells to get that goodbye between the two of them. So there's that. But let's move on to questions very quickly. The first one being, was Cecile really at the crime scene? Because I forgot to mention that during Team Citizen surveilling the crime scene of one of the stories they were covering, Camilla actually caught Cecile in the background of one of her photos. And then Allegra brought it up when Cecile came to be part of Camilla's going away party. She mentioned it, and Cecile seemed very confused at first by the mention of the crime scene, and then saying that, oh, she was just looking for one of her old clients. So I'm questioning whether or not Cecile was actually at the crime scene, or if maybe somebody else who looked like her was there instead. So that's a question there, which I have a feeling we're going to get an answer to in the next episode. But then my last question is, when Chester does the inventory for the archive room, since it's been neglected for the last 6 years, do you think that could be the start of the Flash Museum that Nora kind of preluded to or alluded to when she visited back in season 5? Definitely interesting to see how, like, what starts the museum that we got to see in the future. And I'm wondering if Chester's eagerness to go through all the inventory is what could start it. So that's a question there. But let's get on to predictions very quickly. Again, like I said before, I try to avoid, since 713 is already posted on Netflix, I wanted to avoid it. I cut to the credits very quickly and then exited out once I watched this episode. So after writing this, I checked the promo, and this is what I saw. Cecile and Barry being trapped within Cecile's mind as someone else takes control over Cecile's body. But if they both die if either of them dies in the mindscape, then they do die in real life as well. So tricky stuff there. But the synopsis, though, reads that Cecile is forced to confront her past in order to break free from a psychic prison. Meanwhile, Chester takes over for Cisco, but makes a mistake that puts Barry in serious danger. I guess now that I think of it, I forgot to mention the last scene of the episode, which was Cecile coming home and being taunted by this voice. And then when she looks in the mirror, she or somebody else is wearing this golden mask, and she speaks to the reflection saying, I will find you. So she knows somebody's after her maybe, but we don't know what. I'm left to believe that maybe it's like an inner conscious thing that's taking control of her from the inside, or it's like a dual personality kind of thing. I have no idea, or maybe it's someone just trying to use her as a puppet. But I forgot to mention that as the final scene, and I believe that is what we're going to be focusing on in this previous episode. So I'm going to leave it about there, guys. Sorry for the little bit of a format confusion. I left my usual templates back home. I'm visiting my parents today, or when I'm recording this, so it's pretty much going off of the memory of which occurs when in my video, so I do apologize for that. But what did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? How do you feel about Cisco leaving in general? Please let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, opinions, about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff. All found in one place. Go check that out. I am behind, but it's on the list for me to update for sure. Same thing for WordPress. Link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. A little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress as well. And I think that is going to be about it, guys. The next Flash video I do is definitely going to be a combined video as well, just so that I can try to get caught up in things, because I know I'm lagging behind just a little bit. But I hope you tune in to see what I have to say about those episodes. I'm interested to see what this big bad could be in the second half of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So until next time, guys, this is Mel. Wish you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Please stay safe and have yourself a great day. Bye for now.